Hey,
Good day.
I have an update.
What's that?
Obviously, we record both episodes the same day. I saw myself in a full-length mirror. I don't hate it.
No, it's great.
No longer Lily Bloomin'.
Perfect. I just took the longest pee ever.
You did.
Yeah, it was great.
I didn't time it, but
sea biscuit.
Yep. Welcome to Disrespectfully
With Katie Maloney
and Dana Cathan.
Unapologetically
We're here to do what we want to do.
spilling the tea.
Babe, you're going to see the power of women. Like, disrespectfully. I have a really quick basement and daddy
What?
that I need to do that I forgot in the last one. I'm putting myself in the basement. I do Pilates a couple of times a week, and I never normally schedule it after we record because we talk so much. It is like we love doing this, but we're like tired after. And I fucking scheduled it today, and I hate that $25 fee, but I really, really don't want to go. But I'm going to San Diego this weekend to see Katya. She just moved into a new place, and I just don't want to do it. So basement for me, daddy list. Casey, one of my favorite instructors, I go to her class a lot. She loves our podcast.
Oh,
And she's so sweet. And the first time I met her, she was like, I think it was before we started this show. She was like, oh my God, I loved your podcast when I had it for 5 minutes before this. And I was like, oh, well, me and Katie are coming out with one. So shout out to her. I love her class. She's a great instructor.
Thanks for listening. I know. I completely forgot that we record on Fridays, and I was talking to Janet because I go to now like the studio that she goes to with her. And I was like, what other day this week? And she's like, Friday. I'm like, perfect. And then I was like, she sent me a text yesterday. She goes, okay, I booked Friday. I'm like, well, I'm a ding dong and forgot that like I can't do Friday morning.
Have a job.
So I don't know why it just like escaped my mind. I don't know.
Casey actually also told me she saw that when you and Wes and Nick got dinner that one time, and I can't remember why I couldn't. I was doing something else and I couldn't go.
You had dinner plans already.
Yeah, I had something going on, and she saw you at the restaurant. She wanted to come say hi, and she was like looking to see if I was there. She was like, I didn't want to be a creep. And I was like, you should have gone and said hi and say that we know each other. But anyway, love you. Also love our wonderful producers that put this Post-it note on our thing. So
this is obviously, this is our Friday podcast. It's Heauxmetown Heroes and WWDD. We're reading questions, stories from you. So we love all your submissions. So keep them coming in right into disrespectfullypod@gmail.com. Put in the subject which one it is, whether it's a hometown or a WWDD, and try to keep them short. We like the information. We like the backstories, but it has to be short because otherwise we will mostly pass over the ones that look like they're novels.
So, yeah, sometimes it's funny. It's always the people that are like, sorry if this is long, that's pretty concise.
Yeah.
But me and Katie go through these ourselves and pick ones, and also keep sending if you feel like yours is good and we haven't seen it yet. We get a lot. We feel very lucky, but we'd like to keep those good vibes going.
Mm-hmm.
They have so much homework. Send those in. Give us 5 stars. Give us a hug.
Oh,
was there one more thing? I don't know. Just love you.
Love you too.
Should we get started?
Yeah.
We had this week. We had some really good ones. So I'm excited.
So yeah. All right.
Heauxmetown Heroes.
Let's start it off. All right. Jen says, hi. Just want to say I love you both and I love the podcast. I'm a day one VPR fan. Wanted to share my story of when we went to Stanley Hotel in Estes, Colorado. I'm excited about this. You mentioned it briefly, and I thought I'd share my experience. This is the Shining.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Yeah. We took a guided tour as you do with haunted hotels. We opted for the daytime version, which I would as well.
You would too. I'd be like, night, baby.
The whole building feels weird and somewhat creepy, but people actually stay there. Glad we didn't. One part of the tour takes you to a big open room with big windows, lots of light, and a grand piano with pretty piano music. Nope. Apparently no one else in my group could hear the music. I found out later that Stanley's wife used to love the piano and played it every day. Could you imagine? Like, this is beautiful. People are like, what?
Oh, I would feel like I was going insane. That would be scary to me. Like, that terrifying. Not just because you're like, oh, it's a ghost, but also like, am I good?
Haunting
Do
music.
I need the padded walls?
The last part of our tour, we ended up in the basement. Of course. Super creepy. I can't even remember the significance of that part of the tour because while we were all standing there listening to the guide, someone was touching my back, brushed my purse. I thought it was just my friend's daughter, but when I turned around, no one was there and the daughter was standing next to her mom on the opposite side of the space. I was the last person in the room and no one had gone in behind me. We had to get the hell out of there.
That gives me chills.
We made it to the lobby and then realized we were very glad to be there during the day and decided it was time to leave. Needless to say, I recommend visiting if you are even remotely interested. You won't be disappointed. Keep up the silly gooseness. See, the basement is not a fun place to be. No, it's not. That's why
we
you go
stick
there.
our ops there.
That's why you go there when you behave badly.
When you're bad. Great story. That's crazy. Quick fun fact about The Shining. I don't think we talked about this, and maybe more people know it than me, but I didn't notice it until it was pointed out to me in a video. So Jack Nicholson made a creative choice while he was filming to very briefly and occasionally look right at the camera and break the fourth wall. And I didn't know what the fourth wall was until I filmed Vanderpump Rules, but it's like you're the person watching is the fourth wall. So like in reality TV, when people talk about the show, then okay, we know the fourth wall is broken. So he did that to make people, and it's really quick, but to make them feel uncomfortable and like see him going into psychosis. I thought that was really interesting.
That is so interesting. Jack Nicholson's daddy too.
Absolutely. Also, his son's a great dancer. We were just talking about Alana's birthday. That was that night I danced with him, right. And I didn't know who he was. And no offense,
because he was wearing a cloak.
He was wearing a cloak. He was wearing like something I don't even know. Like he might have been or like you must bounce on it, crazy style.
Do you know how many times I hear that in my head a day?
I'm obsessed with it. But so we were dancing, and then after we left, Raleigh was like, "Do you know who that was?" And she was like, "Who does it look like?" And I was like, "Girl, I don't know. He was
a monk."
Yeah, what are you talking about? And she was like, "That's Jack Nicholson's son." So anyway, that was a good one.
Yes.
Kylie says, "Hey Dana, Katie, and the Disrespectfully Pod crew. One of my favorite parts of the pod is hearing stories from you and other listeners about spooky encounters, so I thought I'd share one of mine. To set the scene, I grew up in rural Pennsylvania in a borough close to the Appalachian Mountains." I remember why I chose this one now. "While the borough as a whole was very rural, my house was in the actual town part, where the houses were close together and the streets had sidewalks. My house was built in the early 1920s, and it sat on a street that was on a steep hill. Okay, story time. One night when I was about 12 or 13, I was laying in bed in the state of half awake, half asleep, when all of a sudden I heard my mom sternly say, 'Kylie, Kylie, Kylie, come here right now.' Before I could move my body, my eyes shot open like a cartoon character, and my stomach immediately sank into my butt. I got up, and as I approached the hallway, I saw my mom looking out the window that faced the street. 'What's wrong?' I asked. Without ever looking at me, she replied, 'I need to know if you see this too.' Now, equal parts freaked the fuck out and very curious, I rushed over to the window to stand beside her and look. For more context, we were looking out a second-story window. My eyes are immediately drawn down to a woman standing outside in the street, but pretty close to the sidewalk, like where the cars park. The woman was wearing a dark, baggy dress and some kind of cloak over her head. Was it Jack Nicholson's son? We just don't know. It could have been old-timey clothes, but my kid brain went to, 'It's a nun, LOL.' As I looked at her face, I realized she was already making eye contact with me. Immediately, the glands at the back of my jaw started to tingle, and my eyes began to tear up in fear. To make matters worse, her head was facing straight ahead, meaning only her eyes were angled up at me. I had the gut feeling wash over me that told me that this woman wasn't benevolent, but she wasn't friendly either. 'The nun?' I asked my mom. I could see out of my peripheral vision that she nodded, but neither of us looked away from the woman on the street. After continuing to stare for quite some time, I noticed the bottom of her dress was almost blurry, like she didn't have feet or anything that was actually touching the ground. I can't remember exactly when we finally looked away, but at some point we asked my dad to go outside and look. He said some dumb shit like it was a shadow from our neighbor's floodlight, which it absolutely was not. Most of the time when you hear about the apparitions, they're seen out of the corner of someone's eye, or it's quick or a half-second encounter, but my mom and I were fully locked in eye contact with the spirit, probably for a full 5 minutes. Strangely, after this night, we never saw her again. I still have so many questions, like why was she there? Why was she staring into my soul? Why did she stay for so long, but nothing ever happened again? I probably never know, but every time I retell the story, that uneasy feeling comes back. For real, my glands are tingling right now. I have a few more ghost encounters and plenty of stories of me and my friends just being drunk messes. So if you like this one, you think I should submit more, let me know. Okay, love you, bye.
Definitely submit
Number
more.
1, yes. Number 2, the Appalachian Mountains, we have talked about this so many times. So when I first read this and she was like, said her mom was staring at the window, I thought it was going to be a mimic because like the way she said her name and whatever. But here's the thing, rules on the street. In Appalachian Mountains, we don't look out, even if you're in the don't look outside. I will never be hanging out in the Appalachian Mountains, but I know what to do. You don't acknowledge whistling.
You don't look in the trees.
You don't look in the trees after night. You you mind your own beeswax. If you hear a name and you know that it's just don't acknowledge it. So
what a stressful time to live there. Like for me, being as nosy and as like whatever as I am sometimes, like I'm 100% staring into those trees. I'm 100% going, huh? Like that is going to be me.
A mimic pretending my mom was like, Dana? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, she been gone for a decade. Like, what's wrong with you? And then, okay, I actually have one Appalachian story. The only time I've been close, when I went to pick Laszlo up. She's from Virginia.
Yeah.
And we had this whole horrible story, ended up missing our flight. But it put us at nighttime driving back to the hotel that was near the airport for the morning. And I realized, and it was like really beautiful at first, but then as it got darker, it got creepy. And I was like, this is the Appalachian Mountains. Like we looked it up and I was like, keep driving, get going. But anyway, some guy on TikTok was like, here's 3 rules as to why you shouldn't be there at night. And people go there at night for content. And I'm like, you guys are dodos. There's some things that are not worth the clicks.
No, I just, no way. That's one place I never want to go. Do I want to watch everyone's stories of being there and like what they experienced? Oh yeah.
Never skip.
Oh yeah. I had to take a break and actively change my algorithm because that's all I was getting fed. And it was like giving me nightmares and just like bad vibes, but I love it.
Fuck, marry, kill. Appalachian Mountains at night, staying overnight in the Lizzie Borden house, touching the doll from The Conjuring.
Touching the what?
The doll, the haunted doll.
The doll.
That's like
I thought you said the doll. Oh my God.
From the bulletproof glass.
Okay,
Fuck, marry, kill. You have to do it.
I'm killing Appalachians at night. That is just no. I'm going to marry staying in the Lizzie Borden's house and fuck the doll. The touching the doll.
I'm going to kill the doll. Not doing that. Absolutely not. Marrying Lizzie Borden, fucking Appalachian Mountains. I don't like any of these options, but I have had enough demons in my life. I don't need any more, especially ones that look like Raggedy Ann. Your turn.
So, as you guys know by now, I'm obsessed with the Taylor Sheridan cinematic universe. Like, I'm deep.
Yeah, you are.
I know. But in order to feed my obsession, I've got to cancel some unwanted subscriptions. They're all on different platforms.
They're everywhere.
That's where Rocket Money comes in. They show me all of my subscriptions right in one place and help me easily cancel the ones I forgot I've been paying for, which...
So many.
Yeah. Rocket Money also pulls together all of my spending across all my different accounts, so I can clearly track my spending habits and see where I can cut back.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lowers your bills so you can grow your savings. See all of your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. For ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them. Like, okay, that's amazing.
Yeah. Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. Easily create a personalized budget with custom categories to help keep your spending on track. See your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going.
Get alerts if bills increase in price. There's unusual spending activity, which I'm the one doing the unusual spending activity usually, or if you're close to going over budget. The new goals feature automatically saves money for you, so you don't have to think about it. Pay off credit card debt, put away money for a house, or just build your savings. Rocket Money makes it easy.
Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you.
Which
Love
we
that
can
feature.
and we do.
They'll deal with customer service because who wants to? So you don't have to.
Imagine someone being like, I love talking to customer service.
Not I. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions. That's crazy. Saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features.
That's like a lot of millions. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/disrespectfully today. That's rocketmoney.com/disrespectfully. rocketmoney.com/disrespectfully. Favorite snacks: hot dogs, frozen pizza,
Candy, every kind, chocolate,
sour candy meant for 50 people, and I've eaten almost all of it.
Girl Scout cookies. My pantry looks like a 7-Eleven right now. And it sucks because it's all terrible for me.
I know. Everyone keeps sending things being like, there's metal in them. And I'm like, I don't care. Good. Then I'm the Tin Man. You know what's a crazy statistic? Over 10,000 chemicals have entered our U.S. food supply, yet the EU limits this to just 300 additives. I personally don't have time to sift through ingredients labels to see what's in my food, which is why I love using Thrive Market.
And no one wants bad news. Thrive Market makes it so easy to find better options without the hassle. One of my favorite features is the Healthy Swap scanner in the Thrive Market app. It's simple, scan any item, and it instantly suggests a cleaner, healthier grocery alternatives. For me, this means swapping out sugary snacks for high-quality swaps like Chomp's beef sticks and Simple Mills crackers. The best part, everything gets delivered right to my door, and I get savings on every order.
Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding safe, healthy food. All of their products are 100% non-GMO and free from over 1,000 harmful ingredients, and their on-site filters make shopping even easier. Whether you're looking for dye-free snacks, non-toxic cleaning, or high-fiber meals that fit your dietary preferences, Thrive Market has you covered in just a few clicks.
Another thing I love, Thrive Market's Smart Cart feature. It takes the stress out of replacing junk. When you create an account, Thrive Market asks the right questions and automatically builds a grocery cart tailored to your needs, filled with healthy alternatives to your favorite brands. From there, you can adjust, add, or remove items before checking out.
Ready for a junk-free start to 2025? Head to thrivemarket.com/disrespectfully and get 30% off your first order, plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/disrespectfully. Thrivemarket.com/disrespectfully.
Okay. Kayla says, hi, ladies. My cousin recently retold her incredible hometown hero tale from college that I think about often. She gave me permission to share it with y'all because I told her you would enjoy it. One night she was hooking up with this guy who kept putting his finger in her mouth while they were made out. Have you ever
Was he a dentist?
Like, what is that?
No, that's so weird.
She thought it was a little weird. A little. Okay. But forgot about it when she saw his dick. To this day, it's the biggest penis she's ever seen in her life. She described it as if you stacked two fists on top of each other.
Spoiler alert, it was the Girth Master.
That's pretty big.
Oh, I thought she meant like this, like widthwise.
No, on top of each other.
Oh. That's not even that crazy.
That's...
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty big. Okay, anyways. When she talks about all the dicks she has seen, this one is referred to as Shamu. His dick was so big that the condom barely fitted. We've seen people stick their entire leg in a condom.
Yeah, that's a lie. Did I ever tell you about Tresemme? There was a guy in college that I dated that had the biggest dick I've ever seen, and we, amongst my friends, the giant Tresemme cans, that's what we called him. So Shamu's good too.
Yeah, Shamu's great. Unfortunately, he had whiskey dick and couldn't finish.
I'd be like, thank God, get out, get out of me.
Yeah. When it was all finally over, she looked around for the condom and couldn't find it.
Ugh.
She was like, what the fuck? Did you not use one? He swore that he did, and they looked under the bed, on the floor, and in the sheets, but couldn't find it anywhere. She told me all the details the next morning, and for the coming days, I witnessed her journey of anger, confusion, embarrassment. She felt like surely he lied to her, and that he was an even bigger dick than his very huge penis. We don't remember the exact timeline, but after at least a week, or as she framed it, enough time had passed that I wasn't embarrassed anymore. She went into the bathroom, and when she went to flush, she saw the missing condom. It had been in her the whole time. Ugh. Our theory is that his dick was so big that it pushed the condom up where the menstrual disc goes, way back in her pubic bone. What's worse is she realized that maybe he had been sticking his fingers in her mouth to measure if he could fit his huge cock in her mouth. And no, she couldn't. Love ya.
So not only was it just not a little loving graze, it was like sticking it in there and opening it up. Like, what?
He was trying to do like, those people that survey the land.
Yeah.
He had one of those like orange like thingies sticking in her mouth.
It's possible that I have told this story on here, but do you remember the one about high school and the guy who found out my friend was cheating on him? And I say friend loosely because I hated her, not my friend at all. Actually, I was friends with him, but so they didn't use condoms. They were in a relationship and she had been hooking up with someone else and using condoms, and they lost it inside of her, and they were like getting ready to have sex and he was fingering her and he fished it out. That's how he found out that cheating was happening.
Bro.
Wild. Anywho, Bree says, hey ladies, love you both in this podcast so much. Here is the chaotic story of how I got arrested when I was 19. My parents have a 3 seasons room in their house. What the fuck is that? I was going to ask you, what does that mean? Do you know? So like a loft,
is it one of those? It's not like a porch, but it's like sort of like a windowed atrium style thing. That's like it's all enclosed, but like it sort of feels like you're. I don't know.
That's kind of what I was assuming.
I just made that up.
I mean, I believe you, so apparently I do need to Google. My friends and I used to sit out there and smoke the weed. One day I was out there with friends smoking. Mid bong rip, I hear my friend yell my name. I look up and there's a cop staring at me through the window, watching me hit the bong. The cop ushers us all outside onto the porch. Turns out that they were looking for my aunt who lived at the house at the time because she had a warrant for unpaid parking tickets. The cop asked us if we knew who my aunt's name is, and we all said no because we ain't snitches. My mom and aunt are inside, see the cops, and my aunt proceeds to come out and see what's going on. The cop asks her name, she says her name, and the cop looks at me and my friends and shakes his head because we've just been busted for lying to him. We tell him we didn't hear him correctly. The cops proceed to raid the 3 seasons room and take everything we had there, one hitter, pipe, bong, etc. They arrest me and my friends because the paraphernalia belonged to us. They handcuff me in front of the house because I'm high as a kite. I can't stop laughing and say, do you really need to cuff me? How am I in danger to you right now? My mom then comes outside screaming at me at the top of her lungs that I'm fucked when this is over. The cops drive my friend and I in the same car to the station. She's a chatter when she's high and is asking the cop his whole life story. When we're at the station, we have to do fingerprints, photos. I stand there still very high and ask, am I supposed to smile for this? They told me to make whatever face I want and capture the picture mid-laugh.
Oh my God.
Looks great, LOL. I then hear my friend go out to get her photos and she says, did Bree smile? Cue another laugh attack. The cops then drive back to my parents' house. Thanks for the ride, my guy. Turns out they took everything from the porch except a grinder full of weed that was sitting on the table. We get inside. My mom closes the blinds and says, time to get high. We smoked in the safety of the house. Side notes. One of the cops was the father of a kid I had in my summer camp. He said, if I knew her teacher was a stoner, I wouldn't have sent her to that camp. My aunt did get arrested and my mom had to go to the station and bail her out and bring her back to the house. My mom was never mad at me. She just put the screaming show on for the cops. We hired a lawyer and my charge got dropped to a loud noise complaint. This whole thing was absolutely ridiculous and hilarious. Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye.
That's amazing. I love that story.
Being arrested high. So one time before I had admitted to myself I didn't like to smoke and I was trying to be cool at a party. I think we had just graduated high school and you know those like 2-foot bongs? So I was doing it and I was like, I'm just going to take a small, like get a little bit. And I filled the whole fucking thing and I went, and right as I went in, the whole circle of people I with went, because it was huge. And then I immediately was like, puff it out. 5 minutes later, I'm already so stoned. Cops show up. I have to run through bushes, so stoned. The fact that I could even run was so scary. And then we found a garage to hide in. But I was like the highest I've ever been waiting to see if the cops came. There's nothing worse than being drunk or stoned and getting in trouble with police.
Or just being like too stoned in public. You're like everybody knows. You get like paranoid. They're like, oh my God, they're looking at me. And like, they're like, actually not. They're just like glance at you for 2 seconds, but it felt like they were staring at you for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they were able to have a kiki and laugh about it.
But
also I love, there's nothing better than like a tea mug shot. Like I think of like Lindsay Lohan's and she's like you have to serve. If you're in that situation, serve.
Yeah. Knowing me, I'd probably be crying my eyes out.
Correct.
Oh God. Okay. Well, moving on. Mitchie says, hi, Dana and Katie. I've been listening to Disrespectfully since the first episode, and I'm so thrilled to have been on this ride with you divas. Hey. I have a pretty silly hometown hero story. Keep in mind, I'm 23, so I'm just starting out in this world. LOL, here it goes. We love a little self-awareness.
We do. We sure do.
Oh, I picked this one for you specifically.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I was broken up with over the phone on Christmas Eve this last year. We were together a little over 3 years and broke up with me because he said I was mostly cheating by having a celebrity crush on JFK's grandson, Jack Schlossberg. That makes 2 of you.
Whoever I end up with, it's already over for them.
Which is funny considering he looks similar to Jack Schlossberg.
Oh.
Anyway, I was super upset on Christmas Day. I waited a few days to download the godforsaken dating apps again, but I bit the bullet and did it. I matched with a couple guys as New Year's was approaching. I obviously had to secure a New Year's kiss. I didn't really care who it was. I just wanted something to kiss at midnight. So I invite my matches out and stop at the first bar. I see all my matches I invited hanging out together at the bar. I wanted to melt and die, but hey, they all matched with me. So it can't be that bad. I chose my favorite of the group and just stole him away for the rest of the night, only to have something to kiss at midnight. Well, terrible mistake. My town is small and I'm pretty well known here. And so was my ex-boyfriend. He was known as Mitchie's boyfriend. Hey, we love that. So me kissing someone from our hometown that we both know was definitely testing the water. Well, I chose wrong because the boy licked me like a damn dog in the middle of the bar to the point where I had to ask the bartender for a napkin because I was covered in his spit. It came to a point where I straight up asked him to stop using tongue because I couldn't even get to his lips. Ew. Long story short, I went back to the group of my matches I invited and chose another one and went home with him instead, as the first guy watched me leave with him. # bounce back.
That's pretty legendary behavior.
That is iconic behavior.
I once saw...
It's giving Katie.
I saw a gal who she intentionally did that, invited a bunch of matches and was basically like, Hunger Games, you're all here, you're auditioning, go. And a couple of them stayed. And I was like, I feel like most of them would be like, if anyone did that to me, I'd be like, fuck you. But that's so funny.
We have like men with fragile egos and they don't want competition because they are, feeling inadequate themselves. But like, that's iconic. I love that for you.
Oh, such good hometown hero for sure. Love.
You are a hero.
In my eyes.
You're my hero.
Especially with the Jack Sloshberg, which I'm just going to assume that's why he ignored my DM. Shauna says, hi, disrespectfully ladies. First, I have a message for Dana. Since you were drinking Clamato and pickle juice together, have you ever considered adding a little vodka, hot sauce, and Worcestershire sauce? Rim the glass with a little celery salt, add a pickle spear or spicy bean, and enjoy a nice Caesar. They are much better than their Bloody Mary counterpart. If you end up trying one, please circle back, as I'd love to hear what you think. I love a Caesar. I've had them, especially in Canada when I went with Raleigh, and yeah, and celery salt is so delicious.
I've never had that. That sounds really good though. I love that the one, I think, only picture I sent you from the cruise was a bottle of Clamato juice that was sitting out on that, the table up in that like sort of courtyard area.
It looks warm.
It was sitting, the sun was beating on it for like whatever time. And I think also beat down on a bottle of wine that I had one glass of wine before bed. Probably maybe it had something to do with the 5 tequilas I had. The next morning I woke up and did something I never do. I threw up.
Ugh,
you know I never
mixing shit wine with tequila is so bad when you do that. Every time you do it, you suffer.
Wine with tequila is fine. No, it's when I mix wine with dirty martinis.
Oh,
but it never gets to the point of throwing up.
Oh,
okay. Anyways, gross story, guys. But go on for the story.
Well, yeah, I do love a Caesar, and I will say Clamato warmed in the sun. No, but I do whenever I buy it on the way home. I always fish it out of the bag and I chug a big part of it lukewarm, like room temperature.
Yeah.
Now for my story. This isn't your typical fun hometown hero story, but it's a crazy one. So with my bestie's permission, I decided to share. When I was 19, I moved across the country. While I was away, my best friend, we'll call her Dorothy, met a new guy. They dated for a while. When I moved back home, I finally met him. I was not a fan. I couldn't tell you why I didn't like him, but something about him was off. So I kept my eyes open and stayed supportive for my friend. Don't you hate that when you just know and you can't pin it, but you're like, you're bad news.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She eventually broke up with him, but it was right around the time her dad passed away. So he used his relationship with her mom and them going through a tough time to stick around. Also, fuck you, so manipulative.
Yeah.
That was me saying that, not Shauna. He would stop by unannounced, bring things over he thought they needed. Dorothy lived in an in-law suite at her parents' and was often falling asleep on the couch in her mom's side of the house and was sleeping at weird hours dealing with her loss. During this time, she started finding text messages in the morning that had been opened, but she didn't remember reading. We both thought she must have opened them at some point, half asleep, and forgot. A couple weeks of that happening, we were obviously getting suspicious, but couldn't think of a logical explanation for it. One night while asleep in her bed, she woke up to hearing sounds in her apartment. She laid in bed, hoping she was just hearing things when she saw the shadow of a man in her bedroom. The adrenaline hit, she scooted to the end of her bed and just started kicking. I think she recognized him yelling in pain after the first few kicks, but she kept going until he ran out of her apartment. Turns out, during one of the visits, her ex took her house key, made a copy of it, and returned it without her realizing. He had been sneaking to their house at night to read text messages. He wanted to see what she was saying to her friends about him and was hoping they get back together. Now, as fucked up as that is, it gets worse.
No way.
It gets worse. A couple of years after they broke up, we started hearing from old high school friends that he had been lying about his age since before he met Dorothy. She was 19. He said he was 24 when they met. He continued telling 19-year-olds that he was 24 for years to come. We honestly had no idea how old he was when they actually dated. So this information is getting around and people are starting to call him out for grooming young girls and being an absolute fucking creep. Not long after this information came out, we heard he passed away. While I don't typically wish ill on someone, I can say I'm not upset about the news. The information spreads around only to find out he's actually still alive. This motherfucker tried to fake his own death and get away with the consequences of his actions. Men are not well. My best friend made it out of the situation relatively unscathed, and for that, she will always be a hero to me. Just goes to show you, you should always trust your gut. XOXOS.
I believe that trusting your gut, yeah.
So, what I was going to say about it is that's such escalating behavior. I'm glad, like we can laugh about it because nothing bad happened, but someone doing that and sneaking in your house at night is legitimately insane and could lead to hurting someone.
No,
but
that would, I hope she got like a restraining order or I don't know. Like,
oh, the whole thing is so gross. But did I tell you I've once again, a month or two, deleted the apps. I seriously would rather die alone. But I saw a guy I know who I went on a date with several years ago who is 43 and said he was 37 on the app. And he likes to date really young girls. And I was just like, why are men lying about their ages? It is totally like predatory and ick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's something we haven't talked about, but like we've been meaning to bring up is that the men lying about their age. And whenever they're like confronted about it, they're like, well, I just want to be in a certain age demographic. Well, those people don't want to be in yours. Like if someone wants to date someone who's 40, whatever, or something, who's in their maybe late 20s or 30s or something, they'll adjust that on their own. So they're shown those people's profiles. But for you just to be like forced into that on them, like, no, well, that sounds weird.
No, it's so gross. And also there's a big difference between, and he likes to date like young 20-year-olds. So if you're 22, 23, 37 is already a stretch, but you find out you're dating someone who is 20 years older than you. That is just crazy. And not like age shaming couples, but they should be, you have to know going into it.
No,
That's
because I mean, I think
crazy.
everyone at some point in their life goes through a phase where they're dating someone completely out of their
Yeah,
age
I love doing
range.
that. Again, my dad doesn't love me, but
you know, but when somebody's lying about it, that's fucking gross.
also you're starting off the relationship with a lie. So I automatically, you're out for me. I'm like, ugh. Anyway, my palms are sweating from the Celsius and coffee and lack of food, but should we solve the world problems?
Let's solve all the problems.
WWDD.
WWDD. Anonymous says, hi, lovely ladies. I've been ashamed to admit this to any of my friends, so you better believe I'm coming to my parasocial besties. No, we're here for you.
We're here for, that's what it's for.
I've been married for 10 plus years, but 6 years ago, I cheated on my husband physically and emotionally for about a year. I'll spare you the long story, but essentially I was in a very low place in my life and sought comfort in someone I shouldn't have. My husband found out. I admitted to everything, cut off all ties with the man I cheated with and all people and things associated with him, and my husband and I stayed together. It was a rough go for a while, but we both worked extremely hard at our relationship and got through it. My husband is absolutely the man I'm supposed to be with, and I'm so grateful he chose to stay by my side and fight for our relationship. The problem is cheater's guilt. I still have incredible shame and guilt around this entire phase of my life. I had never cheated before and never would have thought I'd be somebody who cheated. Even though we worked through it, he forgave me and it had literally never come up again. I still wonder sometimes if he thinks about it. I feel so terrible for the pain I caused him during that time, and honestly, if the shoe was on the other foot, I don't know if I'd stay. I feel like it would be counterproductive to talk to him about how I'm feeling because I'm pretty positive this is a me thing and not on him, and I don't want to open old wounds. He has never made any indication that the previous cheating incident is still an issue in our current relationship, but I can't help but wonder if he truly has forgiven me or if he ever still thinks about the hurt during that time. How can I move on from the shame and guilt of this past mistake? It's no excuse, but I truly was not myself during that time frame. I never ever would cheat again, so I truly don't believe once a cheater, always a cheater. But does he? Love you both so much and appreciate your insight. Here's the thing. I don't believe that once a cheater, always a cheater. I think it's unfortunate.
I don't either.
That affairs happen, but I think some people always associate affairs with being like this super like in the dark thing, and they do exist like that, but they're also the people I know that have had affairs, and there's a lot of them, are typically in a really low place. And they're not acting themselves. And so I think for your husband to recognize in you that this was extremely out of character for you, he knows you better than anybody else. So I think he's taking that heavily into consideration in his choice to stay. So I think I don't know if like you need to work on yourself to forgive yourself for those things because he has. So there's no reason to keep holding yourself down and being that hard on yourself.
Well, I was just about to say that. I think that, of course, sometimes affairs happen because people are just dickheads, but I think a lot of them are bred out of people not being themselves and like just being desperate and looking for something to fill that pot. And I remember on Euphoria, it just really stood out to me. In the second season, Minka Kelly is talking with Maddie in the pool, and Maddie's telling her about whatever that hot mean guy and her mean friend cheating. And Minka Kelly was like, I was actually your friend in college and I cheated with my friend's boyfriend. And she said, he gave me the wrong amount of attention at the right time. Or the right amount of attention at the wrong time, whatever. So she was going through something. So it always has stuck out to me. I definitely think you're projecting of your feelings. And I totally get feeling bad and wondering if it still stays with him. But to me, it seems like he has moved forward and stuck it out and you guys are right for each other. So you need to do the best to forgive yourself and recognize that you weren't in the right state of mind. You were a different person and stop holding yourself to such a high standard. Like people do make mistakes and come back from it. And, you know, like you said, like a lot of people have affairs and a lot of them are much dirtier and like low down. So I think that as long as he has worked through it, you need to let it go because if you don't, you're going to keep bringing it into your relationship. Like they say, worry is prayer for things you don't want. Like try, and I'm the rumination queen, so I get
Yeah,
it, but
same.
try not to ruminate on it.
Yeah, no, honestly, you're not alone. You're not the first person that has had an affair. You recognize the place in your life you were in. You're not in that place anymore. So stop treating yourself as if you are in a bad place. If you're not, I mean, I know sometimes like therapy and just talking about it and just, that's all you need sometimes. But don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, I've been in low places in relationships where I'm like emotionally starved and somebody like makes me feel seen. And I'm like,
well, also I feel so sad for you that you feel like you can't admit this to your friends. So you probably feel really isolated in that sense. And
yeah, and I'm not, and because I probably have fear of judgment. And
totally.
And yeah, some people are going to see it that way. But I think people who have had a little bit more real world and life experience understand how these things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So just go easy on yourself.
We love you.
We love you.
Michaela says, WWDD Hometown Hero combo.
Okay.
I'm in a bit of pickle, if you will. This is consuming so much of my brain recently. I just need to know if I'm the asshole. We love Am I the Asshole stories.
Oh my
Keep sending
God,
those
I
in.
love them.
We eat that shit up. Mostly because we both ask ourselves that every day. This girl and I have been best friends for 8 years. I would say in the past year, our friendship went downhill. We used to be inseparable. We would spend almost every day together. My boyfriend was also her best friend. Her parents looked at us as their own children. You get the picture. We were tight. In 2023, my best friend and her boyfriend were going to Houston, Texas, his hometown. They invited me to come along, so I agreed. Long story short, during the trip, her boyfriend became the devil and took advantage of me while we were sleeping one of the nights. Yeah, awful. I was terrified, so I kept my mouth shut the rest of the trip, but let everyone back home know what happened so they could be prepared to kick him the fuck out once we got home safely, since we lived all the way in Kansas. Anyways, we kicked his ass out. He quit his job, moved back to Texas. There's obviously more details to this story, but it's not the point. My best friend wasn't mad at me and thought I handled the situation to the best of my ability, although our friendship isn't really the same after. Months go by and we're just really not getting along. We were still hanging out, but we always seem to have a problem with each other. We also work together as hairstylists to make the situation even more complex. We would communicate our problems to try and make them better, but we would still always repeat this cycle of not getting along. We started hanging out less and less. While still keeping it professional, we would leave our problems at the door while we were at the salon. Flash forward to right now, her mom got diagnosed with really intense breast cancer, the worst breast cancer there is. Her family is going through an extraordinarily difficult time right now. Basically, my best friend's life has turned completely upside down. I feel like such an asshole for not showing up for her and her family. I haven't been there for them at all. We were just at the point in our friendship where we grew apart. At some point, you have to put yourself first and do what is best for both of you. Both of us have just accepted that we aren't as close anymore, and it is what it is. It's harder because we were each other's family pretty much, so going out and making new friends is scary. This is definitely more of a WWDD, but whatever. I love you both with my whole heart. Dana, I would kill to sit down with you and talk about how much we all hate Trump. Okay, bye. Yeah, I'll have that kiki anytime. So I think that this is a really difficult situation in general. And I understand that she's going through a hard time and you want to be there for her. If you can and you feel like you'll regret it, I would say try to put that aside right now and still be there for her, because even when love doesn't work out, whether it's platonic and romantic, it can still exist, even though functionally you're not able to have a relationship. And so I would hate to see time go on and you to regret not being a support for her. And I think it's great that you both see, like, you've had the communication, you've tried to resolve it. And if it's just something that things have changed, that's okay. Like we talk about this, that friendships, go on over time. But if you were as close as you're saying you were, which I totally get this type of friendship, I think it's worthwhile to try and be there for her and understand that she's going through this. And then who knows, maybe after that you'll take time apart and naturally it'll heal, but it might not if you don't try and be there for her during this time in her life.
Yeah, because if she's maybe harbored some resentment that she didn't want to bring to the forefront because she realized it was maybe like deflection or projection at some point, back when the thing happened with her, boyfriend, this will only breed more resentment if you don't try to reach out. And it seems like you really want to, but like you've tried to keep distance. But I think this sort of transcends any kind of like regular drama that you've had with somebody. And again, of course, friendships could evolve and change and dynamics or whatever. But I think because of your closeness with like her family, it was that I think they would all appreciate it. And I don't think anyone's going to feel like, well, first we got to talk about some shit. No, I just think they would appreciate you reaching out. So just start with that. I mean, you don't have to like come barreling through the door. But
well, and if you feel any type of awkwardness, I would just say, like, I think we both know that things have been different between us, but what matters right now is what you're going through, and I want to be here for you, and I love you.
yeah.
You know?
So in answer to your question, you're not the asshole. Like, I think a lot of people would be in the same boat and not sure like how to feel or what to do. But if you want to ease your,
Oh, yeah.
mind.
And this is not coming from a place of judgment. Your feelings are valid, and I understand why you're feeling that way. I just, like Katie said, I think it transcends that right now. And if you can't, and you can't handle the mental load, I understand that too. But I think that I like to think that down the line, after some time has passed, you guys will come back to each other, find your way back to each other. So
yeah, I think so too. Well, hope that helps. So we all know how important it is to filter the water we drink.
Well, we do now. Unfortunately, we didn't in 2018.
I know, but why don't we think the same about the water we shower in? It makes sense,
It
right?
does.
All of those nasty little particles you don't want in your body, that's going right in your hair.
Gross alert. Not for me. But with Jolie's filtered shower head, my hair is beautiful, bodacious, and bountiful. It's best in class for removing chlorine and heavy metals. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always been under the impression that while heavy metal is beautiful to the ears, it's not so great for the hair or skin.
I completely agree with you on that one. Plus, Jolie has the only lab-tested and clinically trialed filtering shower head on the market. It's clinically proven to reduce hair shedding in 81% of people, lab-tested to reduce hair frizziness by 40%, maintain color retention, and protect the hair surface layer.
And not to mention, Jolie shower heads have a beautiful, sleek design, the perfect combination of form and function. There's an even better part. Want to know what it is? Strong water pressure. There's nothing worse than a weak shower head that leaves you feeling covered in grime. And Jolie shower heads have just the right amount of pressure to make you feel so fresh and so clean.
And even better, Jolie shower heads fit all showers as the plumbing pipe size is universal. Technically, if you wanted to, you could bring it over to your friend's house, your hotel, anywhere you want to feel clean and comfortable. Jolie will give you your best skin and hair guaranteed. Head to jolieskinco.com/disrespectfully to try it out yourself with free shipping. And if you don't like it, you can return your Jolie for a full refund within 60 days, no questions asked.
I don't know about you guys, but I want to live a long and luxurious life. That's why I've been using Function. Function is an all-in-one health platform that starts with over 100 advanced lab tests covering your entire body. Heart, hormones, liver, kidneys, thyroids, autoimmunity, cancer signals, toxins, nutrients, and more. Like, what else is there? That's all of it.
Function Health is about taking control of your health through data. Instead of guessing what happens inside your body, Function helps you know for sure, providing access to 100 plus advanced lab tests. These tests include insight to your thyroid function, hormones, liver health, heart health, autoimmunity, kidney function, nutrient levels, heavy metal toxicity, one of my favorite songs, immune system, electrolytes, and more.
Most traditional annual checkups only cover 19 biomarkers. Function Health goes 5 times deeper, giving a comprehensive view that allows you to catch potential issues early and take proactive action. Your first sets of tests help you establish a baseline for your health, giving you a starting point to compare future tests against. That makes it easy to spot changes, even subtle ones, and address them proactively.
Lifespans are decreasing, chronic conditions are rising, and cancer is becoming more common in younger people. Knowing what's happening inside is key to prevention, which is why comprehensive testing is so important. Unlike some companies, Function doesn't sell supplements or prescriptions. The insights you get are unbiased and solely focused on your health.
At $4.99 annually, the membership includes the cost of 100 plus lab tests through their nationwide lab partner. There are over 2,000 locations nationwide, making it accessible to a wider audience compared to traditional healthcare costs that reach up to $15,000 for those exact tests, which is egregious.
Health is universal. Function Health is for anyone who wants to understand their body better and make informed decisions for a longer, healthier life. Function currently has a wait list, but they are offering our audience a chance to skip it. Head to functionhealth.com/DRF or enter code DRF when signing up to skip the wait list. All right, Sarah says, hi, Dana and Katie. Love you girls. Let's get into it. I'm a 31-year-old single girly who's had terrible luck with dating. Been on millions of dates, it feels, and I'm still struggling to find a keeper. I recently met this guy who I find myself having the best time with. Like talk on the phone all night, romantic dinners, stay out all night dancing, great makeouts, deep conversations. What's the problem? The problem is the sex. All right.
Oh, no.
Like we haven't fully done it yet.
Hmm.
The couple of times we attempted it, because he can't last more than a minute. What the fuck, right? We talked about it and he said he hasn't been intimate with somebody since his last relationship, which was 3 years ago. I feel like I keep running into this problem where I meet a guy, I'm really into it, but the sex or lack thereof is subpar. My question is, do I completely write him off or give him more chances to get it together? I'm still keeping my options open, but would it be a waste of time to give him my energy? I feel like he has the potential to be a great partner because he has the qualities I'm looking for that a lot of men I meet lack. On the other hand, sexual chemistry is important to me. Will there ever be a guy that has it all? Sincerely, a girl that can't catch a break. All right, quick answer. No, there's not going to be a guy that has it all. You have to accept that people are human. They are flawed. And in order to really love somebody fully and understand them, you have to accept their flaws and that they're not a perfect being. I think it's important to have standards that are a reflection of integrity and character and really core values. But the rest, really, you got to take a look at and be willing to have a little wiggle room there. I agree that sexual chemistry is super important, but I think that's something that can be built over time. I don't think that's something that's always instantaneous. And I think it's just something that, like, yeah, if he hasn't been intimate with somebody for years, like he's probably working through some hangups and roadblocks on his own that I think just having somebody who is just very supportive and is like, it's all good. Like it'll happen for us. That will help probably improve on both ends. I just think sex is something that can get better over time and it's not always immediate.
I agree. Sexual chemistry is so important to me also, so I understand that. But it seems like you guys are pretty early in your sexual relationship. Like you said, you haven't fully done it yet. Look, this may be a problem and it may not work out and you may not be able to get into a groove. But I do think as comfortability grows and more you can leave that in, more intimacy grows, so can your sexual compatibility. And I think that, for instance, a serious relationship I had, the first, I think 4 times we tried to have sex, he could not function. And it never was a problem again for the rest of our relationship. Mm-hmm. But then like the first time it happened, it was fine. It was fine, but it worked out. So point being, I don't think you should overstay your welcome. And like, if months go by and nothing's changing and you've maybe talked about it and it's just not working out, then that's okay. But definitely don't call it quits right now. I'd say
no.
And if you feel comfortable and you don't want to make him feel bad about it, but just talk about it and be like, I really like you. I want to meet your needs. I'd like to meet mine. So like,
because that's a different kind of intimacy that you're building with a person that contributes directly to sexual chemistry, is like having like that kind of level of vulnerability and trust with a person will open up doors wide open when it comes to the sexual stuff. So I think this person, like when you were saying in the beginning, like you have the best time with him, you talk on the phone all night, romantic dinners, like it seems like you align on a lot of things and like really match each other's energy, that like give it a little bit more time.
Yeah.
It's not your fault, but you could probably help it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, hope that helps.
Keep us posted. We want to know.
Yes.
Circle back to us in a month. Samantha says, am I wasting my life? Hello, my gorgeous BFFs. I've been a Vanderpump Rules fan since the Statement Necklace, aka 2010, and day one listener. I love you both so much. Katie, since I've never seen your name spelled that way. Usually
it's like Katy
people
Perry.
Spell mine wrong. Yeah. Since episode 1, I loved you right away. Dana, I immediately knew we'd be besties if we ever met IRL. I'm going to try to keep this short, but I'm a rambler, so bear with me. I've written and rewritten this in my notes 20 times. I'm a straight female, 31 years young. My boyfriend of 5 years is 28. Our relationship started out great, beginning of COVID. We weren't working much, so we had tons of free time, hiking, camping, picnicking, fucking, drinking. Our sex life was great the first couple of years. I was living with my sister and brother-in-law, and he was living with his dad, so not a lot of privacy. Fast forward almost 2 years, and we get an apartment together. Fast forward 3 more years, 2 dogs later, I feel lost. We argue a lot, and we have opposite political views. He loves Trump, and I hope he dies a slow, painful death. Trump, that is. So I've tried to voice my opinions and concerns about death. We do not advocate violence on this podcast. Concerns, but deaf ears. He's the worst listener, and I think he's genuinely emotionally immature and doesn't even understand. I know I'm older, and they say women mature faster. I can't attest this firsthand. I feel like His mother always cleaning up after him, cooking, and I'm struggling so much to find common ground. Our sex life is almost non-existent. I'm a victim of SA years ago, and it has affected me a lot since I've always tried to talk to my boyfriend about it. But again, it goes to deaf ears, and he says he understands, but doesn't ask any follow-up questions or anything. I don't feel like he truly understands. I've been thinking about leaving him and getting my own place, but I live in Southern Cali, and it's rough to find a place on your own on a waitress income. I need your opinions, please. Literally anything helps. Okay, love you, bye. Also, men are not okay.
Yeah, leave him.
Retweet. Leave him immediately.
Leave
what are you doing?
Okay, what does there even say? Like,
leave him.
You know what to do.
Look, there's always a million reasons not to do something. Totally understand. Southern California is expensive. We live here. There are ways to make it work. You could get a roommate. You could live in a different area that's more affordable. There are things you can do. And I understand that you've been in it for 5 years, but you are 31. You are so young. And I believe he's emotionally immature. But for a lot of people, myself included, political values these days equate to values about what is good and what is evil. So if you are not aligning on that, it's probably never going to change. And we're only at the beginning of the next 4 years. So if you I just don't know what to say. I think that sometimes your sex life is a barometer of what is happening in the relationship. And it's not about the sex. It's other things that creep in and make the sex dissipate. And especially about the deep things that you want to talk to him about. Sometimes people just can't go to deeper waters with you, and you need that. So all we have to say is leave him.
Yeah, honestly, if someone wasn't listening to me or asking any kind of questions or offering me any kind of support that way, and like they were emotionally immature, like, ugh, yuck.
We love you and we see you, and thank you for writing in.
Yeah, appreciate it. Men are not okay. Anonymous says, "Hello, my favorite wisdom girlies." Yes. That would be us.
We are very wise.
We are very wise. Huge fan of the pod. It's got me through some tough times. You both are the best. Rewatching VPR right now, season 8.
Ew.
Oh, that's your season.
That's my season.
Okay. I know this has been discussed. However, I guess I'm just being selfish and needing something from my situation perspective. He was my first boyfriend and first guy to take me on a date, 24. I've never been capable of going out to eat or trying new places other than my typical hotel facial routine I've created. What?
Bitch, you picked this. I don't know what that means.
I know, but just saying. Yeah, okay. I get it. I've never received love from my family or a man. He was the first to give me this. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at myself. I loved him enough to push through the panic attacks, to experience so much of life, and he loved me enough to push me with gentle love. 3 months basically living together, intense love until month 2, it got bad and I lied about my exact job description. Not just a stripper like he thought. Oh. Womp womp.
Are we thinking that means full sex worker?
Probably.
Which we're very pro sex worker on this podcast.
Yeah, but
so
you gotta be honest about that.
Yeah.
We fell more in love through the up and down toxic cycle we created. Finally, it's come to an end yesterday when I called and confessed my love after 5 days of no contact and what I'll do to make us work, move, save, real job, etc. He couldn't have been more clear that he has moved on and doesn't give a fuck about me, which I secretly hope he didn't cover my tattooed name. How long were you guys together?
Only a couple of months, I think. And also 5 days. If he covered that, he's an idiot.
Yeah, okay. Basically, I'm curious what I can do to help ease the pain. What's the advice to rewire your brain to stop crying when you shower or cook or replay the last painful conversation? I just feel so sad, and I'm looking for any advice to keep me mentally sane and not hyperfixate on the fact that it's truly done. I'm sorry this is a lot. As you can tell, I'm desperate to find the key in powering through life while so sad. I'm trying to figure out my future and create different passion projects since now it's really so different, but I don't know how to ground myself enough yet, or even to get myself to keep trying new scary things. What's the key to get yourself out of bed every day, even when you're crying? You guys give me the more realistic, beneficial advice, and I appreciate you both so much for even taking time to read this. Thank you, lovely ladies. Have a beautiful week. Signed, the Heartbroken Escort. This made me so sad to read because we've all been there where you just feel completely lost and defeated, and you're just like, what's the purpose? What do I even do? And you're just like sad all the time. And I think you start small.
Same.
Like, just like do something for yourself each day. Go on a walk. Being physical, and I know like this is me, but being physical really helps. Like, it's very therapeutic for your mind. Like, it'll just help you process things easier, get your mind off of things easier. And also, like, I listen to like really intense music. those are just two things that like aren't super deep and introspective and like, you know, but that I can just physically do that immediately shift my mood.
Yeah. And I think the part of it is we definitely have talked about this before, but you kind of have to be where you are and give yourself goals. Like, this is fresh. So it's okay to ruminate right now and replay things. And you really do have to feel those feelings. But as time starts to move forward, just notice that your thoughts are just that. You control it. So when it comes into your brain, acknowledge it and shoo it away. And trust me, easier said than done. But start small. Like, you're going to have to grieve for a while, and that's okay. Don't look at his social media, block his number so you don't reach out. Help yourself in that way. But then, like Katie said, like when I'm in a real depression and having a hard time functioning, I have an action plan, like with starting with like reaching out to my sister. So I don't know if you have anyone in your corner that you can reach out to so they know you're going through this. And then some days when getting out of bed is too hard, I don't. But then other days through the crying with the action plan, it's like step one, get out of bed and drink a full glass of water. I know that sounds silly and little, but then maybe the next day we're going to drink our full glass of water and sit outside for 15 minutes. Like, I don't know where you live, but if there's any type of sun, and then maybe on day 3, we add a walk to that. Take baby steps, try to be kind to yourself. And also in your notes app, write every single thing you hate about him and everything he did that was awful. And start thinking about the possibilities of a love that isn't toxic and someone who sees the whole you and isn't threatened by what it is you do, and that you don't have to compromise to be with them or lie.
And also say this affirmation every day, because affirmations are really powerful. Like we say, our words are spells. So say every day, I don't want what doesn't want me. You don't want what doesn't want. Why would you want something that doesn't want you?
Right.
Period.
Yep. We love that one. Always say thank you to the universe. We say thank you more, please, but then say, show me how good it can get. Both of those.
Where's got chills?
I know. I love that one. Show me how good it can get.
We are wisdom galleys.
Okay, last one. Anonymous says, would like to remain anonymous because I have friends that also listen to this amazing pod. Oh, thank you. Keep telling your friends, you guys. Like we said, we want more Coven people. Hey, ladies. You're like my big sisters, and I would love to hear your advice. I'm a 24-year-old female that just broke up with my boyfriend of 8 years because we're traveling different paths in life, and I finally bit the bullet and ended things. I had multiple conversations with him over the last year about our relationship, about things I needed from him, and he just never cared enough to do anything about it. And he said, well, I never thought you'd leave me.
That sounds really familiar.
Big mistake on his part. I've been unhappy and feeling stuck in my relationship, work, and just in general the past few years, so I took an opportunity to move across the world to Australia. I leave in the spring, put another shrimp on the Barbie.
Yeah.
I guess I'm looking for advice because I feel over the moon excited to travel and live in a new country. I'm also having trouble getting over losing my best friend, ex-boyfriend, leaving all my friends and family, and just feeling okay with being selfish with my life and my time while I'm still young and could take advantage of the opportunity. I'm so scared to navigate meeting new friends, potential romantic partners when I've been out of the game for so long. Love you in the pod. Hope the whole Disrespectfully team stays safe in these unprecedented times. XOXO.
Oof.
I have so much to say to you. First of all, I love you. Second of all, I'm proud of you. Third of all, 24. You haven't even been born yet. Fourth, 8-year relationship. That means you were 16. You did not even know how to drive. So you made the right decision. And it's incredibly brave what you're doing. I didn't get brave with traveling and like really putting myself out there until I was in my late 20s. So you are ahead of the game. Furthermore, we're on a rock floating through space. Everything's awful. Do what you can while you can. I can't remember the term right now, and I should because I minored in sociology in college, but I remember one of my classes in sociology specifically was about moving to different cultures, and it's like a bell curve. So you get there and you're really excited and it's new and fresh, and then pretty immediately it's really difficult because it's new and unfamiliar and culture's different and all that jazz. So it's about pushing through that. So I want you to have realistic expectations that it is very exciting, but you're going to have to live in the discomfort, and you're going to eat, pray, love so hard. You're going to meet wonderful people. You never know what's going to happen, but just remember that it's going to probably feel icky for a little while. And maybe you'll skip the bell curve, but if you don't, stick it out. You're going to be great, and nothing's final. You can always come home if you want to. So get out there. This ex-boyfriend of yours, excuse me, thought you'd never leave me. Well, you thought wrong, loser. Bye.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. I also am super proud of you. I know how difficult that can be to make that decision because it's just scary. But I think it's so exciting. This like precipice you're on of just like anything can happen. Like again, universe show me how good it can get. Like I think trying to look at it through the lens of just like it's gonna be hard, but like you're like this is such like a canon event for you where like it's gonna make you so strong and teach you so much about yourself and about people in the world and just like how much you can actually do, which is like really exciting, especially to learn at that age. Is just being like, I fucking got this. Like that's like the attitude to have, I think, and that will help you push through like tougher times of just like embracing the discomfort and like and just keep telling yourself like this is gonna make me stronger. This is building my character like unlike anything else. Well, you could do the safe, easy thing, stay home, cry into your pillow, lean on the same friends you've had, or go create a life for yourself of your making, whatever you want it to be.
And from personal experience, your friends and family are always going to be your friends and family. And mind you, I didn't move to another hemisphere, but I moved to California when I was 26, not knowing a single person. And I was in a really bad place in my life. And I'm so fucking glad that I moved and stuck it out. And for a year and a half, I was not happy. And then I moved from San Diego to LA and life of my dreams. So like, stick it out. Yours will probably be less for that. Be careful of toilet snakes and huntsman spiders and overall really scary creatures. But I have faith. You're going to have a great time. And box jellyfish. They're really small and you can't see
There's so many like hot people in Australia too. So like have fun with that.
Hit up the Girth Master. Yeah. And also a great way to get over someone besides getting under someone, change of scenery. So great.
Go to the other side of the world.
Good for you. No dusk and dawn swimming. Lots of great whites. You're going to do great though. We love you.
Hell yeah. Well, that's all we got. Thank you for those. Those were great. I love that. I've loved every single one.
Such a good batch. Keep writing in. We just appreciate you all so much. I am for sure not going to Pilates because fuck that.
I'm going to go take a nap.
Yeah.
It's time for my midday nap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I got a hot date tonight.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Babe, you're gonna see the power of women, like disrespectfully.